Okay, so it's a learning disorder that's caused by difference in the brain. It affects the information that the person receives, process, and how it's communicated. So learning disability can affect both children and adults. And today we're going to be looking at the different types of learning disabilities. There are common learning disabilities that most people know, most people that are in that field. So when people hear about learning disability, they just believe that, oh, it's only dyslexia. Oh, it's only autism. Well, learning disability is more than that. In fact, it's very broad. It's so many. So today I'm going to just be talking about some of them and then probably look at some of the symptoms. Depends on how many the amount of time I have. So I'm going to start with dyslexia. This is a very common one. So when you hear learning disability, people will go for, oh, dyslexia. Yes, dyslexia is a learning disability. So dyslexia is a term that is used to refer to how will I put it? Is a disability for that affects an individual's ability to learn. So this dyslexia, this, as I was saying before my network went off, is a learning disorder that affects a child or an individual's reading and the way they process information. Dyslexia is a learning disorder which affects an individual, whether a child, adult, ability to read, to write, and to comprehend. So one common characteristics of dyslexia is that the person has low reading speed. So someone that has dyslexia, by looking at the person physically, you won't know that this person has dyslexia. It's something that until you come close to them and understand how they read, how to write, so you won't know that this person has dyslexia until you have like a close interaction with them. And they usually read, when it comes to learning, I won't say they're slow, but you have to kind of repeat what you are teaching them over and over and over. So which it takes a lot of patience, yes. But once they understand what you are teaching them, they know it. Like it stays. So it's some, I won't say they don't forget. Yes, they do forget sometimes. But once they've understand the concept, they've understand what you're teaching them, they learn and they they comprehend very well. So it's not dyslexia is as my boss usually said, dyslexia is not a disease. It's just a learning disability. It's just how the person processes the information or the reading or how they decode things. So as I said, one of the characteristics is slow reading speed. They have difficulties in decoding words. And most times, even if they can read that, if they can read a comprehension, it takes them time to understand what it's being and what the comprehension is saying. It takes time for them to grasp what is being, what they read. So for them, it takes a lot of practice. So someone that has dyslexia, we have to read extra hard. We have to read we have to read okay, let's say, so if someone that doesn't have dyslexia, maybe you just read once or twice and you understand. But someone who has dyslexia, we have to read a lot of times. I can't say specifically on on the amount of time they have to read, but they put in extra work for them to understand and then comprehend. Okay, yeah. And to comprehend. Okay, I'll go to the next one. Hello? Is someone trying to- Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, okay. Okay, so the next learning disability is dyscalculia. So just as the name implies, dyscalculia is a disorder where the individual finds it very difficult to understand maths, numbers. So anything that has to do with numbers or calculation, the person finds it difficult to understand. And one of the signs that you know that someone has dyscalculia is that the person shows difficulty in understanding concept of maths. I'm sure there are some people in the class that you just, "Ah, this one is a dollar, this one doesn't understand. How many times do I have to explain this thing to you?" It's not their fault. They've tried, they've read. It's not like I think they are not reading. They are trying their best, so they find it difficult. It's just I remember when I was in school, somebody would say, "I've read and read, but it's not sticking." And I don't blame such a person. It's a learning difficulty, and with patience and with encouragement and with different strategies, that individual, that child will be able to learn. So another symptom is the person has difficulty understanding word problems. So when it comes to maths word problems, like okay, let's say when it comes to money calculation. So I remember then they used to give us word problems. Okay, this also person has this amount of money, and this person spent this money and all that, and then how much of the person has left. So the person finds it very difficult to calculate those numbers. Okay, I have 10 naira, I spent 5 naira out of the 10 naira, so how much do I have left? Someone else will be like, "Ah, this is easy maths, I can do it, it's not a problem, this is very easy." But for that person, it's not like that. They are, because of the disorder, because of dyscalculia, the person finds it difficult to calculate, so they have to practice over and over and over in order to get the concept. So another sign that you know that someone has dyscalculia is the person there's difficulty in sequencing information or events. So just like the name implies, anything that has to do with maths, the person finds it difficult to what's it called, sorry. The person finds it difficult to work with. But there are strategies in which we can help such individuals. And we have whenever we're in class and we notice that our child is not doing so well, or the child is finding it difficult to understand this particular concept of maths, we have something called mental maths. So we allow the child to count in his head, one in my head, one in my hand, and then you ask the child, okay, add them together. Or you have finger counting. The child can use finger counting to count. So instead of someone that has dyscalculia, you can't teach the person like they are teaching regular kids or regular individual. You can't go to the board and be like, okay, this one plus one, this, okay, how many is this? It's not going to work for that person. So you have to be deliberate, you have to be more patient with such an individual, and then you have to work closely with the individual. So is it that the person uses the mental maths, or the person can use sticks, little sticks that they can use in counting. So when we teach addition to children that we discover that they find it very difficult to understand maths, we use sticks, because they like colors, we use colorful sticks or colorful things that are colorful, and then we ask them count Let's say, for example, we're teaching them 2 plus 3, that's addition of single digits. And then I will ask the child, okay, count 2. The child counts 2. And then we use the plus sign in between what the child has counted. And then we ask the child to count 3 sticks. And at the end of everything, the child adds everything together. So is it that the child does that with the colorful sticks in order for the child to get their answer? And it actually works. It doesn't work for every child. Different strategies work for different individuals, but for some we discover that the mental maths works better, and some using sticks to count or objects or items to count actually help them. Okay, another way you can help such an individual, you can ask the peers, that's the classmates of that individual, to assist. So sometimes people learn more when they are with their peers, when they are with their classmates, they learn more. So when a someone that understands it in the class explain it in their own words to another to a child who's finding it hard to decode maths, who's finding it hard to understand maths, the individual or child will be able to understand. And you can, I've already said, we use colorful pencils to differentiate the problem. Okay, so now I'm going to move to the next type of learning disability, which is dysgraphia. So dysgraphia is a learning disability that affects an individual's writing. So you notice that some people, I'm not saying all people that their handwriting are not good, they have dysgraphia. I'm not saying that. But some people find it very difficult to write. And even if they try, their handwriting is not usually, um, how will I use it? Is it visible? It's not usually something that you can read. So such people, is not their fault. It's because of the condition they have. And they try. So for what we do in the classrooms is that we give the child like handwriting books. So you give the child to practice writing on that handwriting book over and over and over in order for the person to practice writing. So it could be the child writing one particular thing, like maybe writing their names, or my name is so, my name is and my name is. So you just keep on writing over and over and over until they fill the pages. And it has helped a lot of people that have worked with. So one of the signs that you know that a child or an individual could have dysgraphia is the handwriting is not usually eligible. So you find it difficult to read the handwritings, and the handwriting is usually not consistent. So you discover that today the handwriting is better, and then tomorrow the handwriting is it has changed. And another sign is the person find it very difficult to finish writing letters, or they omit words. So they could skip some letters. Just for example, in the spelling of sugar, they could omit some words, probably R at the end. Or sweet, they could omit E in the middle and leave only one E. And they also find it difficult to space their work. So when you see the writing, they usually not space. They tend to write it together. Or maybe the print will be big, it will be big in size. So yeah, the print will be big in size. So it's going to fill up the line that the lines of the book, and also exceed those particular lines. So it's going to make the handwriting look very big. I mean, the handwriting is big. So the person finds it very difficult to copy. That's another one. Person finds it very difficult to copy. That's I don't recommend asking a child to copy notes from the board. I mean, for person that have been working, I've we use boards, but it's not for the children to copy. So people who find it difficult to write, who have dysgraphia, we don't encourage that. You tell them to write from the board. So is either that you stay close to them while they write, or you ask them to say what is that you ask, okay, sorry, note copying, we don't encourage that. So either you stay close to them and then help them. So for people who have this people who have dysgraphia, they can copy from their peers, or the teacher herself will later give the child extra time in copying notes. As if the child can copy the notes, or the other materials can be provided for such a child, so that the child do not have to spend time in copying it, because it's kind of, since they can't copy from the board, it's actually frustrating for them when you tell them to do something that they find it very difficult, or you notice that they begin to throw tantrums, or they may not even want to write against self, and then that's when people might be like, oh, this child is stubborn, this child doesn't want to write, I have tried all my best. So when you notice a child like that in the class, there are other ways that you can help the child to write their note or do their work. So one of the strategies that you can help such a child is you avoid chastening that child. So instead of overcorrecting the child or reprimanding the child for not copying their note, or their note not being neat enough, instead, a little encouragement goes a long way for such people. So just by encouraging them, oh, you are doing a great job. Oh, you tried today. This thing actually, wow, it's very beautiful. You did a great job today. So that in that way, you are boosting their morale. And just like I said, providing materials instead of them having to copy from the board. Another way that you can help with the child is you can use tape recorders for lectures. So you already record your lessons. Okay.
Please go on. He has been muted.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, just like what I said, for you reduce the copying aspect of work. So anything that has to do with that child having to copy notes, we try as much as possible to eliminate that part. So other materials can be provided. Like for our kids now, we recommend that they bring their tablets to school. So whatever we need to do, or if they have notes to that they need to read on or sort things, is already in their tablets. So they won't have to copy it. They already have the work, the notes in their tablets. Okay, since they find it very difficult to write, another way that you can help them is use of pencil grips. That one helps a lot. It actually works. Use of pencil grips is help keep their hand firm. So how the pencil grip is, I don't have a picture of it. How it is it's okay, the one that we have, it's kind of plastic, and then the child's little finger, like the three fingers that you use in holding your pen when you're writing. There's a particular way that a child is meant to hold their pen when they're writing. So their hands and the pencil goes in between. There's a little hole in it, and the pencil goes in between, and it helps keep their hand firm, and it helps in correcting writing. Okay, so another learning disability is autism. This one is the most common one that most people know as learning disability. If you ask anybody what's an example of learning disability, they'll tell you autism, and they are not wrong. Autism is actually a learning disability. So autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder that affects a person's communication skills, how the person interacts, person's social behavior, and so on and so forth. So most autism is it's noticeable. Yes, you can tell when someone has autism, but it's you can tell, unlike dyslexia or dyscalculia or dysgraphia, that I missed one. But you can tell that this child has autism. I mean, for people who have dyslexia, dyscalculia, dysgraphia, you won't really tell that this person has a learning disability. You won't know until you have a close interaction with them. But for people who have autism, it's easily noticeable. Not all, but for some, yes, it's you can easily notice that this person has autism. But you can't just look at a person and say that okay, this person has autism. No, you just know that okay, this person has a disability. Yes, you can notice that. And one of the ways that you notice that someone has autism is okay, autism and ADHD actually goes almost goes hand in hand, because most of the symptoms are in autism symptoms are in ADHD. So one of the common symptoms that you know that somebody, or characteristic that you know that someone has autism, is the person's way of communicating, social communication. Most autistic children, they like being alone. They like being isolated. They don't like you coming around them, and they're very, very sensitive. So most of the time, before you touch someone that has autism, you have to kind of like inform them that I'm about to tap you, or inform them that this thing is going to happen. One of the things that they like is that autistic people like routine. So they don't like, okay, how will I put it? They don't like things coming all of a sudden. Like our kids now, the ones that are autistic, they're not time for food. And you'll be wondering, how did they know? It's because it's something we've practiced over and over and over. So they get used to the routine. And if they get used to routine, it actually helps. It reduces the tantrums that they're going to throw. That's the acting up. So if they get used to the routine, it actually helps. Classroom routine and all that. When it's time to write, they know time it's writing time. When it's time to eat, they know it's eating time. When it's time to learn, they know it's time to learn. It's table time. So they know all those things. So if you come up to an autistic child, and all of a sudden, probably let me say for example, it's tab time. They're watching their tabs and everybody is seated. They're using their tab to watch their songs, rhymes, and then you just come and then snatch the tab from them. It's They're going to throw tantrum. It's going to, maybe, let me say, probably for the whole of that day, you may not be able to get their attention again, because the tab has just been snatched without a warning. There was no warning that it's almost tap time. So we let our kids know that, oh, tap time is almost over, and then you count down 1, 2, 3 until you get to the specific number that you tell them that tap time is going to be over. And once that time reaches and you collect it, even if they don't give it to you and you collect it, even if they throw tantrum, it's going to be less because their mind has already been prepared that okay, that time is almost over. Okay, another one is social interaction. Okay, the first one was social communication. Social interaction. Most autistic children or children with autism, they find it very hard. It's not all. Some are verbal, some are non-verbal. And the ones that are verbal, okay, they try expressing themselves, they try communicating to people around, but they find it very, very challenging to interact socially around people. So if they get used to a particular person, they will stick to that person. That's why in class we do what is called class rotation. So we don't allow a child to get used to one particular educator or teacher in the class. We rotate the children so that it will not be like okay, if this particular teacher is not around, the child is not going to learn that day because they've gotten used to the that particular teacher. So we try as much as possible to rotate our kids and make sure that they get used to every teacher in the class. And it works for children that get used to one particular teacher. If that particular teacher is not around and another teacher has to take that child, is actually difficult. So even with the rotation, we still have cases where the children are not willing to learn because that particular person that they prefer to be that to prefer that prefer they prefer that person to teach them, because that person is not around, they will not want to pay attention. So we had this case where this particular child, I will not say the child was pretending, but the child didn't want to respond. So we kept because we have lesson plans for them. We have individual lesson plans. So you check the child's lesson plan and know that okay, this child is um this child is learning this. This child has mastered this. Okay, this child is still working on this. But when you check the child's lesson plan, you realize that okay, the rating is on 4, and then the child has not. When you ask the child is not responding. It's later on we just realize that okay, this child has gotten used to this particular method of teaching. The child has gotten used to this particular teacher. So any other teacher that is taking that child, the child doesn't respond, and the other teacher will not think that okay, this child doesn't know this particular thing. Meanwhile, it's not correct. It's not true. The child knows it. The child just doesn't want to respond to that particular teacher. So they have challenges in social interaction. They have challenges in maintaining relationship with other people, understanding social cue like so what you a normal person, and what someone that doesn't have disability, learning disability, or someone that doesn't have autism will look at and be like, okay, when what for example, okay, maybe like traffic lights, they won't understand that green is for go. We try to teach them that and they've been picking up. They won't understand that okay, green is go. Once the light is green, let me cross. We Someone that is not autistic will understand okay, once it's green, is is time for you to cross. Or probably you went for event and then the environment is quiet and the child just starts shouting. The child will not understand that okay, you are meant to be quiet at that time. So these are social challenges that they have.
Does that happen to an adult too?
Yes,
This
sir.
particular instance.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir. It happens to adults too.
Okay, so quick one. Sorry, before you continue, I'd like us to have an interaction at this point. Because it's beginning to look like these child-centered challenges, right? And
Yeah.
yes, so there are people who are currently on the call who are not, they are not children, neither are they teachers, nor children coaches. They don't have any relationship whatsoever to do with the school system where they have interactions with pupils, right?
Yes,
and
sir.
we need to carry them along in the conversation. So um, these challenges, because while you were trying to do an exposition, I begin to see some windows, right? From the special needs learning approach. Does this approach, do they have, is it designed to solve these disabilities or to manage them? I mean, I understand from research. I mean, I did research on this some time ago, and I think around there are some challenges like uh, the ADHD,
Yes.
autism, most of the is it dyslexia disabilities
Dyslexia.
or challenges.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
I noticed that they have lifelong implication. I don't know how
Yeah.
true.
Yes.
Do we have a system, a learning system, not medical system now? Do you have a
Mm.
learning system that helps, to solve this challenges in respect to learning? Do we have learning system that solves them, or are some of these learning system we are seeing this night designed to just manage them? I taught in a school, like I told you, in Unique Standard Bearer Montessori School. I can tell you for free. I thank God, President is here. So if I'm not saying the truth, she will caution me, right?
Yes, sir.
Um, we were taught to to teach children who had difficulty in learning. At the time, there was no name tag to it. Now,
Mm.
special needs learning is beginning to give us names.
Yes,
Because
sir.
of the peculiarity of the school at that time, I remember vividly since 2012. I can tell you that these things were part of my life culture in training and in teaching. There are some children who cannot cope as much as others in class. And I
Yes.
taught age seven, grade two. My class was grade two wisdom. Uh, and some of these students have I mean, they are learning differences. That's my point. And
Mm.
we were taught as teachers to come back for those ones who struggled in learning, right? And
Mm.
by God's grace, I still remember some of their names. I'm not going to mention them. They are big boys and girls right now. Most of them are in uni already. So
Yeah.
I will thank God for that. Yeah. So um we saw results. Right now, there was no name for those disabilities. Most of them are not, I'm not sure they have medical challenges whatsoever. It's just learning challenges. But
Yes.
autism sounds like a medical challenge. Am I correct?
Um. Yes, partially correct because
Okay.
it it has to do more with the brain.
Okay.
Like the neurodevelopmental disorder.
Okay, so does this learning approach, does it prefer solution, or is it designed just to manage and help the child learn while they grow into adults? Just give us light on that.
Okay, as according to research, there is no cure. Like you can't cure autism, or you can't cure, yes, you can't cure autism. It can be managed, but you don't expect the person to be 100% okay. But it can be managed. The individual can grow and even have their own career and build their life. But for the person, we always try to tell our parents that the person is not going to be 100% okay, because autism is okay. And I think another way of managing autism is making sure that early the child comes in. Okay, sorry. Um, the Okay, if we want to help our child, we try to encourage our parents to come in for early intervention. So the earlier the child starts the process of the intervention, that is the learning into the special needs space, the better. We've had some children who came in who couldn't even talk at all. And then as time goes on with the intervention, with the therapy, and then with constant learning and drilling, the child was able to talk. And now when the child wants to go into a mainstream school, the child usually the child from the big for the beginning that the child is going into a mainstream school, we usually have like a shadow teacher who is going to be with that child. So the child won't have to, like for example, what I said about dyslexia, about copying of notes. Such a child is not going to be able to copy notes all of a sudden. So it takes time. But autism can be cured, it can be managed, and that child will grow up having um, a life of their own, doing things on their own, and then learning things. So we try to teach them self-help skills. These skills are what is going to help them when so that they can be on their own, they can be dependent on their own. They don't have to depend on people all the time for things, probably wearing their shoes, having their bath, brushing their teeth, brushing their hair. Basic life skills. We try to teach them that. These are things that are going to help them as they grow up. So I don't know if that answers the
Yes,
question.
that does. Thank you very much. Okay, so I want us to put emphasis on dysplasia, right? Dysplasia has to do with difficulties with reading,
Yes, sir.
writing, and
Yes.
spelling. I am currently in the training and consulting space. I help people to step into peak performance, and I've been doing that amazingly. And I mean, it's been helping me, right? Peak
Wow.
performance. And you see, the truth is that I have seen adults who still finds it difficult to read. Now,
Yes.
I developed a program, Speed and Comprehensive Reading Course, SECRAP, Speed and Comprehensive Reading Course. And that course has been changing lives, I mean, in no small way. But my emphasis is most of the people who comes to me for one-on-one on speed reading are people who are mentally okay. Like you
Mm,
said when you started, that you see some people with these disabilities, and you can't tell that they are not, they have these disabilities, because by all indication they are okay, 100% okay. They
yes.
talk well, they relate well, they dress
Yes.
well, they
Yes.
walk well, they relate well. There's no sort of symptom to show or indicate that they have one or two disabilities in respect to learning. Am I correct, ma'am?
Yes, I are correct, sir.
So adults who have difficulty, who are dyslexia, how do we help them? Now, we can also press that. I will truly appreciate if you come from the whole kids, teens into adults, right? People
Okay.
largely have difficulties with reading, with spelling, with writing.
Mm,
I have placed a 31-year-old man on handwriting skill,
mm,
honestly speaking, because
wow.
it was a concern for him. He's an he's growing into becoming an elite, but
Mm,
he foresaw where he was going to, and he knew that if he should enter that space with this limitation, is going to
mm,
affect poor handwriting. His own case was poor handwriting, and he told me that he has been struggling with that growing up, right? There is a
yes, sir.
movie called Like Stars on the Earth. I'm sure some of us have seen that. I think it's an Indian movie. I saw that movie many years ago for education purposes, where a boy, I've forgotten his name, he used to look at letters, and those letters would be dancing in his eyes.
Mm,
I'm sure all of these things are connected to dyslexia. Please, ma, how do we help people within that space? There are students within that space, there are young adults within that space. um, what learning method or what approach, rather, approach would you recommend for school owners? I know you've spoken a bit on that. There are teachers here. A lot of them are connected to this call tonight, and we have children who are struggling, but the parents don't know how to solve those, how to meet those needs, right? So help us as coaches, help us as parents, help us as teachers to solve the case of dyslexia. Number one, how do we assist people with dyslexia?
Okay, so for people with dyslexia, we try as much as possible not to bombard them with a lot of work. Don't give them a lot of work. That's for when we're teaching our children. Because right now I'm talking from what I've known and from the experience that I've had so far. We don't bombard them with a lot of work. We try as much as possible to make their work very light. And sometimes we think they've mastered it, because when you ask this person, okay, let's say for example, I finished teaching this child let's say A to D, and the child is responding, in fact, very fast. The child is responding. And tomorrow when you come back, you ask the child, okay, what letter is this? And the child is can't remember what letter it is. Okay, this letter makes what sound, and the child can't remember. So we try to break the work down for them, and consistency is it's key for them. You have to be consistent in whatever you are teaching such an individual or that child. Just like what you said, you have to place someone who is in their 30s on handwriting skills. That person actually has dysgraphia, if I'm not wrong, yeah, dysgraphia. And I think if the person still has that challenge up till now, is because there was no early intervention for that person, and they didn't notice. He didn't notice on time, and probably parents too didn't notice, and it just kept on going. So one of the ways that we can help such individuals is for people who are dyslexia, we make their work very easy, and then we keep on being consistent on that particular thing that they're learning, until we are sure. Sometimes we can even spend months on one thing, weeks, depends on the child's pattern of learning, depends on how the individual learns. So just like what I said, consistency is it's very, very important, and making their work very light, and lot of encouragement, because even as someone who doesn't have dyslexia, when you are learning something over and over again, you tend to be discouraged. So for such people, you tend to encourage them. Oh, you are doing good. You can do this. You can just keep on encouraging them. Motivation, they like motivation. They like it a lot. And it helps boost their morale. So if a child is learning ABC and tomorrow that person comes back and learning ABC again, the child is going to get tired. So by the time you keep on motivating the child or changing different strategies, so instead of picking, telling the child, okay, we have on what is called matching, like matching the alphabets. So when you ask the child, okay, match A every single day, come to the class, match A, the child will get tired, or that person will get tired. So different strategies too, matching, picking. Sometimes we paste the letters on the wall or whatever they're learning on the wall. Sometimes it can be on the table. Okay, this is A, we're pasting this letter A on the wall. Okay, let's pick the letter A on the table, let us match it to the one on the wall. It can be of different colors. They like colorful things as children. I'm not really sure about adults, because to be honest, I've not really worked with adults. I've been working with children, so I'm speaking from children's perspective now. So different strategies helps them a lot. And sometimes They like outdoor learning, going outside to learn. So when the child is tired of learning inside, like indoor learning, the child will want you take the child outside or take the individual outside. If it's an adult, I don't know, probably the adult will know what they like best, and then different learning styles too matters. Some people learn with audio, some people are visual learners. So it just depends on how the person learns. So when you discover how the person learns, it actually helps to know how you're going to help that person to learn. If the person is an audio learner, so we tend to use songs for that person, for that child, or for that individual, so that they can learn. So learning with songs for them, for people that are audio learners, they actually learn faster and they understand faster. So I don't know if that answered the question that you were asking.
Wow, thank you very much. I'd like us to take a question from, we're actually learning by interaction right now. Before we allow you, facilitator, just give us your last bullets. But extensively, I really want us to take out this time extensively to engage so we can have practical, hands-on learning from teachers. So those of us who are in a classroom, right, based on what has been discussed, what do you have to say, to ask, or to contribute to this effect? Yes, if I see your hand up, there is a logo on your screen, is a five finger like this. Just click it, and then it will indicate that you are raising your hand, and you'll be asked to unmute and speak. Okay, so while we are yet to get, and okay, um, success Chinua, please can you unmute?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So my question is, I understand that our teacher is giving us this night, and I appreciate her so much for the light. So my question is, in a class where you, because I believe we don't just have all these challenges she mentioned. It's not just on on one child. We have different. We have mixed. There's a mixed class. So I
Mm.
want to know now, how do we reach the children one on one? Because to tackle this, you must have a one on one encounter with them. And but in a situation whereby you have them much, how do you take? I don't know how to put it. How do you take care of this situation now? How do you meet an autism? How do you meet this? All the names you mentioned, I can't call them now. How do you meet them in a larger community? Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much for that question. That's actually a really good one. Okay, for the different types of disabilities, how we can reach them, we usually have what is called one-on-one learning. That's why for a child who has special needs, the child has to be in a space where there are other special needs, so that you can know how to help them, because in regular classes is going to be much for the teacher. Yes, it's going to be much for the teacher, because the teacher has to divide her attention between the other children, and then attending to other children, and then this particular child too. So what we do is we have every child have their own lesson plan. If it's a typical special needs environment, each child have their own lesson plan, and each child, okay, you can't take more than three children at the same time. Yeah, you can't take more than three kids or three children or three people on your table. So that's why it's called one-on-one learning. So each child have their own lesson plan. So your lesson plan is centered based on what that particular child is learning. For regular schools to be provide there's what is called shadows. Teachers that are that are shadowing those children in typical schools. For example, our students that have gone out of the out of the special need environment, they have most of them have shadow teachers who are there to attend to them. So that's shadow teacher's job is to help the child, make things easier for that child in the class. So let's say, for example, when it comes to copying notes, of course the child will sit down to, the child will want to copy notes and all that. But we all know that the child cannot be fast as other children. So the teacher, that's the shadow teacher, is now going to be the one writing the note. That's the shadow teacher herself will have her own note. So the child will be writing her own note so that the child will not be like, okay, I'm not doing anything in the class. No, the child will be copying her own note or his or her own note anywhere the child stops. But the shadow teacher is going to copy her own note too. Then later on, prompt the child to complete their own note. So I think usually they have extra classes with children who have learning disabilities. They have extra. So apart from the normal classes that they have in the class, the shadow teacher have extra classes with them where they prompt them in their system or help them in doing their assignment, in prompting them, assisting them in doing the assignment they were given in the class, or completing the notes, or going explaining in detail more of what is being taught in the class, because the teacher in the class may not have that time. The teacher is hand, let's say for example a class of 20, 30, teacher is not going to have the time to pay that much attention to that particular child, a child who has special needs in the class. So it's advisable that the teacher, even if the teacher is working with what is in the class, that's the shadow teacher is working with what is in the class, the shadow teacher is going to have an extra time, extra lessons. And I think there's a way that I know, so I'm a child who goes to a mainstream school, and they have his own plan, like the way they made his own plan is different. He learns in the class with his peers, but his work is reduced. It's not as bulky as other students' work. So I don't know if that answers the question.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much, Rahila, for that light. I want to comment on this. I've been in the mainstream school since 2012, and
Okay.
currently I provide consultancy services to mainstream schools. And I will tell you for sure that the work, just like you mentioned, the workload in a classroom within the walls of the mainstream school is unprecedented. The
Mm,
workload is too much.
yes.
Teachers are already struggling to meet up with curriculum.
Yes.
Students are already struggling to absorb curriculum. The system is tensed and all of that, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
it's now making it a bit difficult for teachers to even pay attention to the child's learning differences, right? So we
Yes.
can't tell, we just, what we do in classroom is we generalize to say that this child is dull and this child is fast, this
Mm,
child is a dullard, and this child is a brainy. Now, this statistics does not apply to all the mainstream school, right? It
yes, sir.
applies to a portion. The reason why I'm saying this is that because of the workload we have on ground, I think that those of us who are in the classroom has to be very intentional. What
Yes,
do
sir.
I mean by this? The moment you cite a child and you've seen that this child have an issue with learning, recommend, and I say it to most of the schools that I, I give my credit to. I recommend that you have a one-on-one with the parents. 2000. Do you know what you're saying this night, Rahela? I tell you the truth. I've not been under special needs learning up until 2023, but
Wow.
far back as 2012. We were subjected to do some of these things unknowingly. Now, we weren't doing it because we were need-based schools. We were doing it because we actually, the school where I first taught is a Montessori school, right? Unique Standard Bearers Montessori School is a Montessori school. So, because of the Montessori nature, the learning system was a bit different from what others were doing, and we're seeing results. Now, let me give you an example of identifying that this child is struggling in writing.
Mm.
We have, as a class teacher, I was told to have a one-on-one with the parents of the child, either the father or the mother, whoever comes to pick the child from school, and then explain to the parent and request for an extra time. It could either be 20 minutes, it could be 30
Mm-hmm.
minutes
Yes.
to sit with the child and address this special need that this child had. To be very honest with you, we did it. Now,
Wow.
this is where the sacrifice of learning of teaching comes in. It wasn't
Yes.
easy, but you
Mm-hmm.
guess what? We did it because I understood far back 2012 that as a teacher, my responsibility is to build a life. And because that was my responsibility, I tried as much as possible. It wasn't easy, but I adapted. I adopted. Now, we are actually in um, a learning economy based system. What do I mean by that? Where what I meant is that learning right now is being economized. It is economy driven.
Yes.
Status, school payment, and all of that. I won't get into that conversation.
Mm.
So, as a teacher who does not earn so much and you are expected to give so much,
So much.
how do you come in? You have to now begin to discuss with the parents of these children. If you
Mm.
think that a motivation to be able to carry out that assignment, but don't keep it to yourself as a teacher and don't conclude that this child is dull. The
Mm-hmm.
moment you identify and you see that this child cannot receive generalized learning approach, you can discuss with the child. What do you even want to achieve in a child that is in a class? Find out what you want to achieve. If you are in this class, you should have ability to read, ability to write, ability to solve basic problems, right? If that
Yes.
is what you want to achieve, then tailor your training for that child with the parents on that. And if it's going to take an extra time, then you request for a motivation. To me, I think that's the best thing to do.
Yes, and
Because
it is.
if going doing the entire, you know, let's just do the child we grow to learn and all of that, we might just find out that the child is not learning. I will challenge every teacher to go back and do a research on Finland education system. How do they carry out education from the basic to tertiary in Finland? Right now, according to statistics, they are one of the best education service providers in the world. Their education is second to none, right? How have they been able to bring forth quality citizens from the education space? We need to find out. Is our education value based? Is our education problem driven? Is our
Mm-hmm.
education solving? What kind of education are we from primary level? What kind of education are we really contributing? So, if we have seen what we need to achieve in the child in that class, let's tailor the learning to that and see how to personalize the teaching for that child. Now, this is the disclaimer. It's not going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
No,
truth.
it's not.
But
Yes.
then I think that that can work. Now, my second suggestion is we can engage all of the approach to all of the children. What do I mean by that? Visual critic, there are people um, who learn by audio mechanism,
Yes.
right? There are
Yes.
people who are, yes, they are called auditory, auditory learner. There are people
Yes.
who are, they are visual or videocratic
Violent.
learner, and
Yeah.
there are people who are kinesthetic learner. Now, depending on the category that this child falls in, right, we can actually generalize it. There is a class you are teaching, you can't teach without songs. If you are teaching the KG, that is the preschool now, you can't do
Yeah.
without songs,
Mm-hmm.
right? can't do without, dance, play, and all of that. So I think that we can employ or engage some of these mechanisms holistically to aid our learning. I don't know if um my mom is on the call, if she's actively on the call. um I did drop a message to her on WhatsApp, but she's actively on the call. I think she can give us a clue because she has been in the mainstream school system for years, right? Going to 2 decades, I believe. But I don't know if she is. She will just throw light to this while we move on. There's another hand that is up, but Mrs. Success Chunwa, is there a bit of relief?
Yes, I'm balanced now. Thank you so much, sir. Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
ma. I
Thank
drop
you.
my answer.
Okay. Um, your hand is up. Yeah. Can you please
Yes, sir.
unmute?
Yes, sir. I've unmuted, sir. So I have a question based on autism. Now, you said that children with this disability that they will get. You made mention of something. You said that they don't. They only get used to one person, like depending. So when they get used to one person, they stick to it. And you said that in order for them not to get used to one person, that do a rotation for them. Then you said
Yeah.
that don't you don't count
Hello?
maybe the boy or girl, like they'll be like it's just a child. That when the child grow up, the child will work on him or herself, then grow up living. And now you also said something. You said that you cannot cure autism, that instead you manage autism. They are being managed. So they grow up living on their own. So my question is that if it like can't they outgrown it? Can't it be outgrown? That's my question. Can't outgrown autism? Like they'll be like in a certain stage when they get to maybe for example they are kids, they are in kindergarten or they are in primary. Can't we say that okay when they get to secondary school that they will outgrown? Can't it be outgrown? That's my question, ma.
Okay, thank you very much for this question. And to be honest, have I don't think I've seen cases or I've heard of cases where someone grew or outgrown autism. It can only happen with a miracle. Yes, it can be managed. The person will be able to live their life, but the person will still have autism. So what we tell our parents anytime that a child comes in, they have to realize that this child cannot be cured. It can be managed, as I've said before, it can be managed, but the child will never be 100% cured. Autism is one disability that it can affect the person's speech or the person's as I've said, social interaction and all that. So if you see some people who are autistic and they've outgrown something, of course they outgrow some things, like maybe the tantrum, clapping of hands and all that. But it can never be totally cured. I don't know if anyone has watched The Good Doctor. The Good Doctor is the what's it called? The protagonist is autistic. And we see that the way he relates with other people around him is not the way typical people relate. He says things as it is. So he is, I will not say he's not sensitive. He just doesn't understand that there are some things that you don't see. And he grew up becoming a doctor. In fact, an excellent doctor. He did like very well, an exceptional doctor. But he didn't outgrow out of that autism. There were still traces that this person has autism, that a lot of his colleagues will just be like, okay, it's because of his autistic, they will excuse him for a lot of things because of his disability. So yes, it cannot be outgrown. I don't know if they've done a research on that or not, but from what me I know, it cannot be outgrown.
Chima.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Actually, research have shown that it can't be outgrown, right? The truth is that we need to just understand that this abnormality or challenge is a challenge that have to do with the brain, right? It has to do with the brain. Autism cannot be outgrown, but you know, individuals who have autism can actually develop skills and adapt or lead highly independent life with right support. When there is a right support, a child or an individual who has autism can develop skills and then build um, competence around some areas and live a life that is highly effective. Do you understand? So if we understand, it's called ASD in short, autism
Mm,
spectrum
disorder.
disorder. Am I correct?
Yes, I are correct, sir.
Yes, ASD. So that ASD is actually a neurodevelopmental condition. It
Mm,
affects the communication, the social interaction, and the behavior of the
yeah.
child. These
Mm,
things are things that are part of the formation system of that victim, of the what do you call that? The patient now. Is that the right word? I hope that word is not harsh. Calling them a patient. Is it harsh? Help
Uh,
me,
we,
therapist.
we don't call them patients.
Okay, please. What do we call them?
We call them their special needs, special children.
Okay, so it's
Yes.
actually part of the formation of these special children, right? And the way it manifests over time, it manifests with different depending on their age, right? But
Yes.
it's not something you outgrow. It's not something you outgrow. So
Mm,
early intervention, like she said, can actually help support and all of that, improve on the the child significantly, right? And all of that. So what do we do to help this class of people? Early intervention. Early intervention. Early intervention is one of them. Also, supportive environment. Schools that accommodate. There are schools that does not accommodate stuffs like that. They
yes,
will
sir.
even say, please take this child away. This child is not okay. We can't
Mm,
manage this child before the child will transfer this thing to other children. Take the
mm-hmm.
child. Some schools are that daft and ignorant. Some also, what is it called? Skill development too can help people like this, where you do
Yes.
social training, executive functioning strategies. These
Mm-hmm.
social development skills, they can help even individual differences where somebody know when you know that this person is built this way, and because of this specification, this is how the person should be managed. It's also help in the whole, because there is a level of pressure and tension you put on this class of people, and then you lose them.
Yes.
You actually lose them. So
Mm,
instead of waiting for them to outgrow it, we can place support system to assist them become the better version of themselves. I used to
yeah.
say it, regardless of however a child is, that child can become better. That child
Yes.
can become. I can't remember the name of this athlete. She was a special child with autism, and the parents removed entirely her education. They managed to give her reading, writing, give her reading, writing, and spelling, and then move her into the athletic world. At the
Wow.
time, she became the fastest runner. So even if the child did not end up to become a professor, classroom, academia, the child can become something great in some other area of life. It's
Yes.
just to understand where these childs are programmed and move their emphasis. You can, as school teachers, you begin to start discerning the strength of these children and start advising or suggesting to their parents, that they can find help in this and that field of life if we channel their energy to those areas. I think that will also help to go a long way. Thank you very much. There's a hand up. Favor Mweze, please can you unmute? Our facilitator is available to answer your question. Yes, Favor Mweze, you can unmute. I can see your hand up. Okay, I'm not sure that raise of hand was intentional.
Okay.
But in case you are trying to speak, you are muted. We can't hear you. You just have to unmute and speak. All right, Favor. Thank you very much. Okay. Over to you.
Over to you. Sorry, I didn't know you already called me, sir. I didn't know you already called
Okay.
me. The network has been glitch. Sorry, there's been network glitches. My hand
Okay.
is
Please go ahead, but your volume
okay,
is
sir.
very,
Please go ahead, but your
very
volume
low.
is very low. Can you hear me now, sir?
Yes,
Hello?
we can. Go
Can
ahead.
can you hear me? Go ahead. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Rahila. So,
Good evening.
is directed to you. I heard you say you had you know of a plan, a boy who learns along with other children in a normal class setting,
Yes.
and then he's a special kid too. So my question is, are there and like these special children, are they supposed to learn alongside other children? I thought there is a special school, a special institution. I don't know how to put it for them. Can they still learn alongside other children? That's my question. And I would also like to um that's just it for now.
Um, okay. So yes, they can learn alongside other children. They can be in the mainstream environment. The main purpose of them coming to a special needs school or institution or environment is for us, we the special educators, to be able to help them improve, not for them to remain in that special school. So our joy is in seeing them improve, and one day sending them into the mainstream school that they'll be able to learn with other children. It's a thing of joy. Just like what I said, that boy, that child I spoke of. But it's just that sometimes you dey have to go in with a teacher, shadow teacher. That's a teacher that is going to a teacher that is going to work with them closely, very closely, to assist them in understanding what's been taught in the mainstream classroom, what the things that they need, things that they find difficult, even in copying notes, in maintaining classroom behavior, all those. The shadow teacher is there to help them. And we look forward to seeing that one day they'll be able to graduate out of the shadow teacher being with them, and then they themselves sitting down in the class and then doing well for themselves. So yes, they can learn alongside with other children, as long as they have as long as they have the proper attention that is needed. They have someone there to supervise them, to guide them, to teach them all that they need to know. Sometimes even if they don't have a shadow teacher, I have a colleague who after classes, he teaches the boy different from, let's say, for an hour. just kind of like summarizing what's been taught in the classroom. As I've said before, with the particular child I spoke of, this child's work is not as bulky as other children's work. So the classroom teacher, most of them, they actually try, they do try, they make their work less bulky. So they break down the work. Let's say, for example, they are learning types of family. They are not going to go into different definitions of types of family. They're going to just stick to only one definition of types of family for that particular child. The people in the class may learn different types of definition of different definitions of family. But for this particular child, they're just going to is going the child is going to be centered just on the child is going to be focusing on just one definition. And when it's time for exam, everybody understand, okay, this child. So his own is his work is not going to be as bulky as other children's work or other class, other his mates' work. I don't know if that answer your question.
Thank you.
Okay.
The
Yep.
reason I asked was when I did internship in one of the intensive care units for the children, not in care, care institution. I saw these children and I saw the shadow teachers you're talking about. So I can
Okay.
relate to this topic because I thought, because of what I saw there, that they are supposed to be in that special school. Everything they need is there. The shadow teachers are there, and they, after graduation, they are giving certificates. I don't know that they can also, you know, go into the mainstream school like other students. So that's why I asked.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for answering.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you very much. I think it's been an amazing time tonight. Unfortunately, our time is clocking, so I'm going to give um Rahila. We are actually going to create a platform. Now, listen, I need to say this. Um, our first special needs learning class is going to be 100% free. 100% free. We're going to do well. Rahila, we are this together, right?
Yes, sir.
We're going to do well to, as part of our corporate social responsibility, School of the Essence, we're going to do well to have a community. The link will be dropped very soon. A community where teachers, coaches, parents can reassemble, and then we can learn the hands-on method to help our children, our pupils, our clients, and all of that. So the link is going to be dropped, right, very shortly. Benjamin, please, you can just drop the link while we give a facilitator just a time to, recap, to, conclude, and then we'll meet in the classroom. We are shutting down by 10. I'm supposed to introduce GPR system to us, and all of that. So go ahead, Rahila, please.
Okay. Okay, I want to say thank you to everyone. It has been an amazing session, amazing session, and thank you for those of you that contributed. Although we couldn't go through all the various types of learning disabilities, like there are a lot, as I've said from the beginning. It's more than the dyslexia, the autism. It's a lot. We have ADHD, we have non-verbal learning, we have language processing disorder. We have a lot. So hopefully in the class that is going to be created, like we're going to learn a lot. So yes. So we hopefully will be able to learn from there and then go through them. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Special needs is an amazing environment to be in, to be honest. I've enjoyed it. As I said from the beginning it's going to be stressful. We've had people come into the organization and they couldn't last for a month and they leave. They were like, the stress is too much. Believe me, when you get to know those children one on one, you will fall in love with them. Most of the time when we are graduating our children, when it's time for them to go to main school, when they improve, and then it's time for them to go to the mainstream. Up till now, we still make sure. Ah, do you remember when so child was around? Do you remember? So you just fall in love with those children, like, and you want to help them. You pour in yourself to help them. We had this particular child that came in, and then the child couldn't. In fact, when it comes to eating, the child didn't like eating. It's only biscuits. I remember then Pure Bliss biscuit was one of the most popular biscuits. He loves Pure Bliss biscuits. So the parents, some parents, they don't want to be stressed. They don't stress their child. So they just give the child the Pure Bliss biscuits and then his drink, and then and we just realized that this boy doesn't eat. So no, this boy has to eat. So one of our colleagues um gave us this idea that instead of the child just eating pure bliss biscuit, why don't we put in, let's for example, they give the child rice. Why don't they just put the, why don't we use the rice, like put it as butter for the biscuit, like put it in between two biscuits and then cover it. The child is not going to see the biscuit, and then begin to feed that child. The first day we tried it, it was a struggle. The child refused to eat. And one thing with them, you have to be consistent, as I've said before. Consistency. Because they are going to cry, they will play with your emotions, they know how to get it. By the time they look at your face first, ah no, this one no. Yeah, this teacher, no, you're very soft, you're easy to get. So they will cry, they want to pamper them. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't have emotions. In fact, have emotion when it comes to them, but you have to be consistent, you have to be strict, you have to put your hand on your head and be like, okay, this is a goal I want to achieve, and then achieve it. So on the long run, the child was able, he got to a point where the child stopped using biscuits to eat the rice. The child was eating rice on his own, and then doing other, from rice we graduated to other kinds of food. And now the child is in a mainstream school, so it's a thing of joy. Like it's like as if when you achieve, when you set a goal for yourself and you achieve it, the joy that comes with it, knowing that this child was at this point and now they are at, like they're now in mainstream school. So it's, for me, to be honest, it's a thing of joy. Like I'm very happy when I see my children improve, when I teach them something. Or for some of them that are non-verbal, when you keep on emphasizing on one particular word, like say mommy, say mama, say mama. And one day they're just playing, and then you just hear the child say mama. You'll be so excited. You know, when you pick up the child and you be shouting, oh my god, this child say mama, mama. And then you find what's happening. From mama, they move to other words. So it's an environment you want to be in, to be honest. I mean, a lot of people, when I was with my mates in school, they'd be like, is that what you want to do? You want to be a teacher? Why are you studying what you're studying? You want to be a teacher? You could do something with your life. I say, no, this is my calling. This is what I want to do. I love these children, and to be honest, I want to help in any way that I can. And today I'm fulfilled. I'm happy that I'm, like most people will say that you discover your calling on time, and I actually believe I discovered my calling on time. Most people come out from school and they are looking for, where should I be, what should I do with my life. I mean, I went to school knowing what I wanted to do. I chose my course knowing what I wanted to do. So if you have an opportunity to be in such environment, please pour in yourself and be patient with them, be more open, be playful. They love play. So yes, thank you very much, everyone. Like, I'm truly grateful for this opportunity. And to be honest, I was like, when I received the call, I was like, are you sure I can do this? Are you sure I'm doing? So it's thank you very much. I'm truly grateful for giving me this opportunity. And for me to, it's a learning, it's it's I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot. No one is an island. In fact, I'll say, Asa, you know this thing more than I do. So I was saying, what I was like, Asa, why are you telling me to talk about it? You know it. You know
You
this
are,
is
you are our teacher. You're a teacher. Thank you.
Sir,
So
thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm really grateful.
I've always believed in you and I won't stop believing in you. Guess what? This is just the beginning. Uh,
Wow.
beginning. It's just the
Thank
beginning.
you,
I told
sir.
you about the meeting with the board of directors. So
Yes.
after behind the scene, we're going to conclude that conversation. This is just
Okay.
the beginning. Okay. Thank you very much,
Thank
Rahila.
you
I
very
truly
much, sir.
appreciate you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Right. So you can see the virtual claps going up.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone. I'm honored. Thank you very much. Your contribution, your question, it shows that you were listening. Because when I
you.
started, I was like, are you sure they're listening? Are you sure they're hearing? That's why I kept on saying hello, hello. So thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so there are hands still up. Before we call on Ezenwa Kenneth, his hand is up. I need us to see this slide on the screen. Our roles in helping. Number one, we need to stand out for advocacy and support. Please, I need every one of us to try as much as possible to advocate. Help spread the information. One of the goals of School of the Essence is to help learning across all points. Do personal development here. Is it possible that we can volunteer to assist? Yes, it is. As a matter of fact, please let me say this. Go to your chat. There is a link on the chat. Click on that link. It will take you to a WhatsApp platform. The learning continues there, right? The learning continues there. Okay, so let's advocate as much as we can. Let's advocate. Let's play the role of advocacy. Okay, and then if in to advocate, what you need basically have to do is to spread the news. People who have special kids or special individuals with these needs, we can let them know that there is a solution to them. If you don't know what to do, link them to School of the Essence. We can link them up to the right platform depending on their location across the world. We are interconnected, right? Depending on their locations around the world, we can help them to find a meaningful engagement with their life. Education, the goal for education is to help people live out the fullness of their lives, not to become educators. It is not everybody who went through school that should become an educator. So if you need to advocate so that the child or the special individual now can find their place in life. Please advocate. Start raising the news. This child, there is a kind of learning that can help improve on this individual. That is part of the job of advocacy. Advocate for individual with special needs, right? Also, there is something we call fostering inclusion. That is where you promote inclusive practices, right? Some of these inclusive practices enhances learning experience for students with. So let's be part of fostering inclusion. School of the Essence is there to bring inclusion. That is why we are here in respect to special need. Also, collaboration with families. Part of what I do is to talk to parents about how their child can better learn, understand, and become exceptional in life. I don't believe that school is, I made a post one certain time that if education is the key, then school is the padlock. And that's the truth. School has taught a lot of people more than it should make people fly. So when you go to school, school should unlock your life and give you a platform where you can soar, but the reverse is the case. So we should talk with family, collaborate with families, and let them see a better way their words can learn and become better. And finally, let's use the method of ongoing education. Ongoing education is why we created this group, this classroom. The link is there on the chat where continuous learning can be possible. Best practices can be learned in ensuring that special needs are met for kids and adults who have these needs. All right. So thank you very much. I truly appreciate you. Welcome to School of the Essence. I don't have time tonight to introduce you to one of the rituals that you need to get your life into that will make you highly exceptional. You see this prison, This prison is the prison of irresponsibility. And I need you to break the prison of irresponsibility, not playing your lead role at the time you should will make you to be in prison. Prison of ignorance is not knowing that you don't know what you should know. When you don't know that you don't know what you should know, it's a prison of ignorance, and it can keep you down as much as you don't know. And then the last is the prison of inconsistency, not having enough staying power for daily tasks. You need to break out of these three prisons. Listen to me in a very, very quick way of wrapping up School of the Essence Uni-Life Masterclass tonight. You need to break out of these three prisons: the prison of irresponsibility, the prison of ignorance, and the prison of inconsistency. I don't care what you do. If these three prisons are the prisons that are still holding you bound, you don't know, you are not playing your lead role at the time you should. It is not all roles that are your roles. You have a lead roles. Look for your lead roles and play them. The prison of ignorance, not knowing that you don't know what you should know. The knowledge you have now, is it the knowledge that will help your life become the best version of you? If no, then that knowledge is not all that you should have. Then you need to go into breaking the prison of ignorance. And then the third prison is the prison of inconsistency, not having enough staying power for daily tasks. You do the things you should do today, and tomorrow you find yourself not doing them. So habits is key, right? Habit is key. And for you to become exceptional, it means that the habit that will transform your life should be the habit you should pay attention to. And how do you go about that? You must wake up before daybreak. If day breaks before you wake up, the day has overcome you. I don't care who you are. Listen to me. Listen to me. I'm wrapping up this section, and this is my just best way of helping some of us to, get to that point where we are going to be taking responsibility after now. There are habits that transforms our lives. Giving your lives to habits, giving your lives to rituals, giving your lives to routine will improve your life. We don't grow accidentally. We grow incidentally. Nobody grows accidentally. As a matter of fact, if you want accidental growth, you are going to be limited. You'll be largely limited. So it is not time to give ourselves to accidental growth. We must give ourselves to incidental growth, where you are growing and you know what you are growing into, where you are growing and you know who you are growing into, where you are growing and you are sure of how you are growing. You can tell the track record of your growth process. Now, for you to be able to do that, then you must be a ritualist. Yes, you must be a ritualist. Who is a ritualist? A ritualist is an individual who has given themselves to 9 sets of rituals on a daily basis. And by giving themselves to those rituals, their life upsurge and become highly exceptional. You have exponential growth, a kind of growth that cannot be denied. If you want that kind of growth, either as a student, as a teacher, as a coach, as a trainer, an employee, as an employer, whoever and whatever it is you are, if you want to grow beyond your imagination, then be a ritualist. I want to call you into being a ritualist tonight. That's my goal, right? And what is it about this ritualist? It means that you give yourself to some set of, so we have some set of people who have been, who have been giving them their lives, I inclusive. We've been giving our life to some set of rituals on a daily basis, and this has been helping our life in no small way. So we call that programmer. That is the ritual, where P is prayer. Every day we give intentional to praying, not because we want to pray, but because it is part of our ritual. R is reading. Reading, we read daily. Is a portion of time we give to reading on a daily basis, not because we have the time to read, but because if we don't read, we have fallen short of our standard as ritualists. And then O is organizing. Organizing is all about goal setting and journaling. So we set goals every day and we journal every day so that we can stay organized, we can stay together. I heard somebody say many years ago when I was in class, if you don't have a goal, you end up being a goat. So that makes me sit up. I set goals for my 24 hours and pursue them. Connect the goals for my 7 days in week and pursue them. Connect the 7 days in week to my 4 weeks in a month and pursue them. Connect the 4 weeks in a month to 52 weeks in a year and pursue them. It is on the strength of that goals that you become exceptional in your growth. Nobody grows by accident. Everybody grows by incident. So organizing helps you achieve that. Then grabs talks about visualization, where you see who you are becoming before you become it. You don't get to the top because you are journeying to the top. You get to the top because you have a clear vision of the top, and then you are consciously working your way up the top. So visualization, we set ourselves onto the practice of visualization as part of our ritual for the day. And the next is affirmation. Affirmation is positive confession. We speak words is what was is what formed the world. The world is formed by words, spoken words. So you must learn to speak to your future. You must learn to speak to your life daily. It's part of the rituals that we do on a daily basis in school of the essence. And then M is meditation. We give ourselves to meditation on a daily basis, where you sit down and then you lock up and allow your soul relax and connect to the one who have created you in downloading virtuals and resources you need to run your life for the day. It's called meditation. And finally is act of kindness. Act of kindness is A. Now, act of kindness is where you show 3 people kindness in a day, minimum 3 people. And on a daily basis, you become an extension of kindness to minimum 3 people in a day. That is act of kindness. Now, these are the 9 set of rituals that we do on a daily basis. And I want you to start that program. Okay, so in case you want to be part of that, so many people are already there. Do I have programmers in the house? Please, if a programmer, just give me a virtual clap or logo or emoji or something. Let me, okay, beautiful. So we have programmers already in the house, men and women who for months has been giving themselves to these things, and they are growing in no small way. You need to hear their testimony. So you that is in classroom, don't always give. Make sure you have a method where you are improving. Otherwise, a day will come where you will just discover that you are unconsciously going blank, right? So make sure that you become a ritualist. Now, there's a method for reporting and all of that, but when you get into the space, you will be taught on how to do your reporting and all of that. Now, for you to be part of that daily development plan, GPR, it's called Groom Programmer Rituals, GPR. For you to be part of it, please, I'd like you to click on that. Benjamin, you might have to put your, thank you very much. So to be a ritualist, there is a WhatsApp link there. To become a ritualist, just click there, join the platform, and then you'll be educated on what to do moving forward. Your life is bigger than this. Your life is in version. Our lives is in version. You need to see me 12 years ago. You need to see me 15 years ago. You need to see me 20 years ago. I wasn't like this. And if you see me in the next 2 years, I am not going to be like this, obviously. So we keep evolving. In fact, in the next 2 days, you can't meet me like this. I must have evolved. Why? I am a ritualist. I have sets of 9 rituals I do on a daily basis. So I don't have time to guide you on how to get started. Click on that link. When you get into that community, somebody will get straight to your DM and get you started. It is easy, it is stress-free, and the reward is priceless. Once again, thank you very much for being part of the section tonight. I truly want to appreciate everyone that stayed through till now. Abu Jafet, thank you. Augusta, Mbojirikwe, thank you. Benedict Mweze, thank you. Benjamin Chibuzo, thank you. Bisong Shalom. Bisong Shalom. It sounds like my first time seeing that name on the platform. Thank you very much. Ezenwa Kenneth, thank you. Also sounds like my first time seeing you on the platform. Yeah, Favor Mweze. I'm not sure, but sounds like it came gift, yeah, regular. Isaac Jennifer, okay, regular. Lois, regular, madam. Okay. Madabuchi Okafo. This is my first time seeing you on the platform. Divine Moses, regular, Pius. Well done, ma. Regular. And Osiwe. This is my first time, right, seeing you on the platform. My own facilitator for tonight. Chinwamo, I call her Chinwamo. My own Chinwa, you're welcome. I'm so happy to see you on the call tonight. Oh, regular to favor. Oh, wow. God bless you. I'm not sure if you send me a DM, I need to meet you. Let's chat. Yeah, favor Wednesday. Let's chat. Thank you very much. Chinwa again. Thank you very much for. Okay, that's why. All right, noted. Thank you very much for connecting tonight. It's not easy having a nursing mother to be with us. Amazing, 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 super amazing, fantastic young lady. I truly celebrate you. I'm going to tell you some of our story next time. If we do anything related to courage, she's one of the example of being courageous and all of that. Yeah, and then Chukwemeka Ukariwo. I think it's my first time to connecting with you. Thank you very much, everyone. I truly celebrate and appreciate you. Over to our COO as he shut down the meeting for tonight. Benjamin, over to you. Thank you for the virtual claps. I truly appreciate. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everyone. We are, this is 10, 12. It's an amazing class. I hope you learned something today. Please, whatever you learned, go and put it to work. Okay? Action.
Yes,
Put
sorry,
action.
sorry, sir. I don't know. Rahila, you have something to say? Okay, I'm not sure. Go ahead, sir.
No, no, sir, I don't have. It was a mistake.
Okay, okay.
Yes,
Go ahead,
sir.
sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Whatever information, remember I keep repeating this over and over. In the school of the essence, you are going to learn what the top university will not teach you. I trust that most of what you have learned today, I bet there's no university um in this country, in this world that is teaching it. Okay, that's why you must always be present in classes. Your availability is going to pay you a lot, and maximizing your time too is going to pay you a lot. You were shown the prisons, okay, between the prisons of inconsistency and other forms of prisons. So please don't get stuck, especially the prisons of ignorance. Don't get stuck. Utilize your time very well. Meditate on what you have learned and apply it to your life. And don't forget, let's advocate for this. Advocate for this. Next time you're coming to the School of the Essence class, come with your friend. There is someone out there. Make sure your life is influencing, even though it's one person. Okay? There's someone out there that you should always be dragging to the top with you. Even though it's one person. Okay? So next week, Thursday, we are meeting here again. Remember, our our speaker tonight, she did amazingly well. And if you hear her talk, just like our previous speaker of last week, and I keep saying that whoever that will bring in the School of the Essence are not just ordinary people, they are loaded. So if I were you, I would like to draw from them big time. Okay. And if you have any question related to the class, feel free to reach out to me. We are always available to answer you and give you audience. And I want to say a very big thank you to everyone who has participated tonight. And we are going to meet next week, Thursday, same time, same venue. Don't forget that You are the greatest asset. And School
Yes,
of
I
the
have a
Essence.
surprise, sir.
Sir?
I said I have a surprise for us.
Okay, go on, sir.
Okay, so for next week, it's going to be ratata here next week. I mean, in School of the Essence, we're going to be having multiple speakers next week, Thursday. Just try to do their practicum, and in the quest of doing their practicum, we are going to be learning quite a number of stuff, right? We've been running executive public speaking course, and that course is getting to the climax right now. So to that regard, next week is their practicum. From next week, of course, is their practicum. You can see this the screen. So we're going to be having multiple, not all of them speak next week anyway, just a selected few of them. LinkedIn optimization, just amazing speakers next week. It's going to be awesome here. It's going to be hot. School of the SS next week is a shutdown, I tell you, because the learning systems, the contributions, the part of life we're going to be navigating through is on different notes. So we have medical doctors here, we have social entrepreneurs, we have where are they now? Research analysts, we have where are they now? Computer scientists, we have educators, we have just amazing personality. So I really want you to please let's start spreading the good news for next week. The flyer and everything is going to be out in public after tomorrow. Okay, so anticipate next week is going to be awesome. The learning is diversified and intentional. So one stage, one mic, 30 speakers starts on Thursday, and it probably is going to be ending upper Thursday or next 3 weeks Thursday. So it's an amazing series we are going to be running in School of the Essence. And that's my surprise. I just needed to show us that before we tie up for tonight. Yes, sir. I think that will be all. We've taken like 17 minutes past the time. So permit me to shut down, COO.
Okay, sir. But before that, please let me quickly say this. With what you just, the good news you just had now, okay, there's what they call the law of appraise. It's good